Hi everybody, today we're going to be introduced to the saxophone. The saxophone is a member of the woodwind family, and yes, there is a lot of metal on it, and yes, it is yellow colored like all the other brass instruments, but it is indeed a woodwind, and we categorize it as a woodwind because of how the sound is produced. On a saxophone, just like a clarinet, the sound is actually produced when you blow air across this reed, and you blow air through across it, it vibrates against this hard rubber black mouthpiece. So when the two mesh together, it creates the sound. So therefore, it is a woodwind instrument and not a brass instrument. So a couple of things about it. It is probably, it's about yay big, which is about the size of my upper torso. It's got one of the largest cases of all of the woodwinds because this actually doesn't break down to too many pieces. You've got the body of the saxophone, the neck, which is this piece right here, and then a mouthpiece that comes off. So this entire piece right here all goes together in a case. Let me just show you the case. Hold on. About yay big. Okay, so it is one of the larger woodwind cases. However, we do have band lockers here in our band hall that you can store your instrument during the school day, and then you can just pick it up at the end of the school day when you go home. But anyways, let's get to how it sounds because that's pretty important as well. Many of you guys know the sound of the saxophone because, well, you hear it everywhere. You hear it on the radio. You hear it in jazz music. It's a popular instrument. So I'm just going to play just a little bit for you, not too much. It makes low sounds and high sounds and medium sounds as well. But this is an example of one of the low sounds. And this is an example of one of the high sounds. Now, in beginner band, we actually go higher than that, but I just wanted to get you a good idea of how it all sounds. Let me go ahead and play you a quick scale from that low note that I just played to the high note so you can actually hear how it all sounds from in the mid-range. So as you can tell, it plays low notes, medium notes, and high notes. It doesn't go as low as the clarinet or as high as the clarinet or as high as the flute, but it has a really, really nice, warm, rich sound. So let's go ahead and talk about some pros and some cons, some good things to think about and some things to consider. One of the great things about the saxophone is that the finger pattern is actually really intuitive, meaning that if you accidentally, forget what you're doing and you just guess, chances are you're going to guess right. Part of that is because the saxophone is actually a new, almost like a baby in the world of music, all right? The saxophone was invented about mid-1800s, about 1850-ish or so. And that's after, 200 years of them messing around with the flute and the clarinet, trying to get that finger system right and all that stuff. They just, when Adolph Sax invented the saxophone, there was a lot of things already that was just kind of built into woodwinds that he just kind of transferred over to this. So the finger patterns are really easy. If I'm here and I want to play lower, I just add fingers. For example, let me show you. Right? All I do is add fingers to get to that lower sound. And I'm going to stand up and show you. If I want to go higher sounds, all I have to do is take fingers off. Okay? So very intuitive finger pattern. Unlike the clarinet, the keys are already covered. So you just have to put your fingers on the pearls. That's all you have to keep your fingers on the pearls and just push them down, right? You don't have to have the fat parts of your fingers to actually cover the holes like you do on the clarinet, okay? So let's go ahead and talk about a major thing that you have to consider if you want to play the saxophone. So one important thing to consider if you're wanting to play the saxophone is that unlike the clarinet and the flute and the trumpet and some of our other instruments, we actually do not have saxophones on our campus to loan to our students to use. All of our saxophone students get their own saxophone either by renting from the local music stores or by purchasing a used one through either Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, eBay, and stuff like that. So that's a huge drawback. However, The solution that we have found for a lot of our musicians who are wanting to play saxophone but cannot afford it, they simply start on clarinet. And that is an instrument that we do provide. They start on clarinet. They learn the basic mechanics of how to play. They learn the mechanics of the mouth formation and how to blow. They also learn how to read music, how to control their fingers, how to count. And when you have all of those things and you mastered those concepts, switching over to another instrument is actually pretty simple to do. We do have on our campus, for those students who are switching over at a later time because they can't afford an alto in their 6th grade year, we do have tenor saxes and bari saxes that we do switch those instruments to. So if there's a financial situation and you really want to play the saxophone but you cannot afford one, our solution has always been to have you start on clarinet and move you over to saxophone at a later time, usually in the 7th or 8th grade year. When purchasing your own saxophone, we ask that you stick with the recommended brands that we are suggesting. The reason being that, yes, we understand there are cheaper brands out there and cheaper instruments. However, if you factor in the entire lifespan of the instrument, what we find is that some of those other brands don't hold up to the test of time, meaning due to the quality of the materials that are used to manufacture the instrument, they tend to just break a lot more, which means you're going to end up spending more in the long run to fix the instrument than you would on the instruments that we recommend. The other thing to consider for those of you who do get your own saxophone is that this piece right here, the reed, this is a biodegradable piece of bamboo is what it is. And so as you use it in the process of playing your instrument and practicing your instrument, it does deteriorate, which means you have to replace it. So what my students do is they start with 4, and we number them 1, 2, 3, 4, and we rotate them. And when we do that, each reed will last, each set of 4 reeds will last approximately 6 to 8 weeks, depends on how much you play. But we do that because if we don't do that, then each reed only lasts 1 week, especially if you're playing a lot. The cost of them, they come 10 in a box for $30 to $35, depending on where you purchase them. I believe Amazon has them right now for right around $30. But you only need about 2.5 boxes for the entire school year. So it comes out to be roughly $90, which is about 50 cents a day. I think that's everything on the saxophone. The saxophone probably more than any other instrument. There is so much stuff out there on YouTube that you can research and stuff, and you can hear people playing it, all sorts of music, everything from classical to jazz to pop, you name it. If there's a song you've heard on the radio, I bet you someone's playing it on saxophone on YouTube. But anyways, if you have any questions or any concerns, feel free to contact me. I'll be glad to answer them for you. And that's it.